The worst year for a lot of us for our mental as well as physical health. So joining us this morning is best-selling author, coach, and fitness expert, Lisa Goldenthal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa G, your host. You're at the top of your game, yet the game is changing faster than ever. Strategies that got you here aren't the ones that'll keep you here. The pressure is relentless, and the fear of obsolescence looms large. That's why I'm here. Welcome to the new podcast series, Disrupted: How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance. This is your chance where I sit down with today's tops in business, mindset, wellness, and success to help you master disruption and thrive.
Thanks for coming, and I'll see you soon.
We're thrilled to welcome a data-driven marketing expert, co-founder of Measure Holdings Group, and a former owner of a five-time Inc. 5000 agency. He's empowered over 50,000 marketers worldwide, a top PPC influencer, and experienced digital nomad. I'm so excited about this topic. He brings invaluable insight on using data to build a stronger, more enjoyable business. Get ready to learn from a true authority. Welcome to the podcast, Jeff Sauer.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Me too. I love this digital nomad topic myself. It's been a huge silver lining of the whole pandemic thing. So we all know small business owners are swamped. Speaking for a friend, what are easy to digest operating systems or mindset shifts that we can implement today without getting bogged down or just making costly mistakes?
Yeah, so I've been in the small business world my whole life. Anywhere from myself to myself with 49 of my closest friends. Up to 50 people in my companies. And it turns out most things that you learn about and you read about in business books is pretty much overkill. Nothing's really congruent. It's like, hey, try this and then try that. And then you try to do it all, and it takes up your whole day. It's not very convenient, and you just spend a lot of time trying to keep up with things versus actually doing what you want your business to do. And so
Right.
when I merged my business with my business partner, his name is Mercer. We said, what's the minimum thing we can do in order to have our business work well without having us fall apart? And let's not create a lot of overhead, because other systems we've used were very overhead heavy. And so we just said, what are the functions we need in our business? And we decided there's three. There's three functions that any small business must have or address, whether they're an individual person in the role or whatever, but they need to address these three things.
Okay.
Offers, which is how you make money. Products,
Right.
which is the deliverable to your customers, whether you're a service or whether you have a software or a podcast, right? That's your product. And then systems, which are the things that allow this thing to happen repeatedly in a way that doesn't fall apart as you do it, and so you can scale easier. Scale's not always the objective of everything, but how do you have a system in place that this gets done consistently? So really, something. How do you make sure you're doing it consistently? How do you take care of your team as you build it out? What else do you need to do? How do you take care of all the back end stuff? So those are the three minimum things you need. And we made that shift over a year ago in our business, and we help other people do that, and it's been really awesome as far as minimizing our overhead, but still getting a lot done and being very productive. And now with the shift to AI happening so much, it actually fits
Yeah.
right into that as well. You can basically have AI be certain components of your OPS. We call it ops, offers, products, and systems. You can actually have some team members that aren't really employees. They're really the agents that you're working with as well. So it's pretty cool.
I love AI. I'm totally into that. And I love the ops system, offer product service or systems rather, because without systems, we're just an idea. So, what are some quick wins that we can have in order to build like that kind of business foundation you're talking about?
Yeah, so it's from an offers perspective, we call it more offers, and it means you need to make, optimize, and review your offers. So the biggest thing is you need to make offers. A lot of small businesses don't realize or don't remember that they need to continuously offer something to somebody if they want to have revenue stability or revenue growth. And so making offers, it sounds so simple, but when was the last time you actually offered somebody your services or your product? And are you doing it consistently? Are you doing it in a way that people know that you're open for business? Because a lot of times we think that it's like the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. But
Right.
rarely does that actually happen. You need to continue, you need to self-promote or promote your business and be continuously making those offers. From a product perspective, we call it RAD products. It's like the results that your product delivers, the actions that you need to take to do that, and then how do you deliver it? Like what's the method of delivering it? Okay, well, what's the result that your product delivers? And are you making people aware of that? One of the cool things about marketing and making offers to somebody is that you can just basically take the result and write about it. And that is the same thing as making an offer. You are letting the marketplace know that you have offers out there, right? And then systems, it's like, what is the system you're trying to create? So we're constantly trying to define our system, and do that. We call it DOPE, define, organize, and then people that run it. But from a definition perspective, have you thought about what systems you need, or are you just doing the same thing over and over again? When is the last time you questioned the activities you're doing to say, is there a better way? And is this the right system to be using?
This is so cool. It's like a marketing master class boot camp for small business owners like myself. I love all the names, ops, red, and dope. It's just easy to remember. So is this something, for example, that you're doing only with PPC, pay-per-click, or is it something you could do with direct message and email marketing as well?
Yeah, I mean, so ultimately, this is how we run our business internally. From the offers perspective, yeah, you can make offers to paid traffic. You can make it to organic traffic. You can have a Instagram reel that is basically letting somebody know that you exist, right? So you can do
Right.
that in any channel. Where I'm pretty channel agnostic when it comes to how you run your business, because ultimately you can't do them all. You might need to try them all in order to figure out what results are there and to get some data. But ultimately, once you find what's working, you're better off making offers on the thing that's working for you versus
Yeah.
trying to pick the 10th channel that might work for you later on. As small businesses, we can only do so much, and so let's focus on that, right? Let's focus on the things that we can win versus making
Yeah.
it difficult on ourselves trying to do too much.
All right. Well, I would love to bring it back around to AI because that's one of my favorite tools. And
Yeah.
I want to know what AI tools that business owners can leverage to automate key marketing functions without needing a PhD in computer science.
Sure. Let's talk about it. So, um, there's AI is just so vast and it's sort of an encompassing way to describe an entire category. Most
Right.
of the time when we're talking about AI, we're thinking about the large language models, like the
Right.
LLMs, like the Chat GPTs, the Claudes, the Google Gemini of the world. And then there's other ones too. There's Grok, there's Llama, there's a bunch of them, right? But the three major ones that people use, that's an interface for what we can always use it as an interface, right? But the truth is that even if we're using AI tools, um, they're probably getting their language model from one of those three. They're probably getting OpenAI or ChatGPT to feed them the language or to refine it, right? But then that's just a part of it, right? Just chatting as an interface is not really enough to run a business. You're finding somebody, you talk to them, they give you a response. That only gets you so far. What if you
Right.
want to generate a marketing campaign? What if you want to have the writing be of a certain quality? What if you want to summarize what you're doing internally and turn it into that offer you're making to the public? Um, and that's where it gets really exciting because there's so many tools out there that do different things. So I have tools that I use that take a long form video and automatically turn it into short form videos. So like I can upload a 10-minute YouTube video and then it's a 30-second clip that I can put onto Instagram. And that just happens
Wow.
automatically. Then you can publish that to your LinkedIn page, or you can publish it to TikTok. So that's called Opus Clip, and there's many tools that are like that. But that's a recommendation I would use because it just takes long form video and makes it into short form. You can take a long form video, feed it into ChatGPT with like a blog post template, and you can turn that into a blog post. I use tools. There's one I use called vidIQ that creates a video script for me to make the YouTube video. So I just say, hey, I want to make a video about this. And then it gives me a script that I can record, and I'm basically making the video that I wanted to do without having to be an expert in how to write a script for YouTube. So it has like the structure for it. Images, I use like the new ChatGPT image feature is probably the best use of AI use case I've ever seen, where you can just like it will create world-class graphics for you,
Yeah.
which is really cool. So yeah, I mean, ultimately the tools change. So it's like one week I'm into one tool, I'm into another tool, but the principles are pretty timeless, and that is figuring out what your marketing strategy is, and then figuring out getting some results to say this is what's working for me. It's really like you don't want to scale something or amplify something that's not successful. So you need to experiment with marketing, which AI makes it easy to try different things. Hey, I heard that LinkedIn was working for somebody. Well, you can use AI to start to draft your LinkedIn post to make it better, or you can, try different channels. Once you have a little bit of success, then you can use AI to say, hey, I'm already successful here. Tell me why I'm successful. Analyze what made this thing work. Why is this headline doing better than that one? And they can actually give you some analysis. And then you can say, okay, well, write me 10 more scripts that I can use in order to do this better again. Right. So it's cool because you can use it for the initial idea. You can use it for the amplification of the idea. You can use it for the generation of the content that feeds the idea. You can edit your stuff. It has everything. Now, I think the mistake people make with AI in general is they think that it's a linear process where I ask something and then they send me something back, and that it's like in a vacuum. It's
No.
really like we call it ping pong prompting, and I'm getting a little bit in the
Yeah.
weeds here, but it's like I say something, I get a result, and then I'll open up a new chat window and then I'll say, "Hey, here's the result that AI gave me. Can you improve upon this?" And then it will give
Yeah.
you that. And then I'll open up another chat and I'll say, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Can you improve on this? And you're basically playing them against each other in order to get the best results possible. And it honestly it takes the result from mediocre to pretty darn good in very little time.
I'm so glad you talked about the iteration needed and playing them off against each other, because I really feel like Gemini and Chat GPT have become my new best friends, and I do play them off of each other, but I have them trained on me. And it was
Yeah.
such an ego boost when they had this one day when they could have Chat GPT tell you about me. And it was just like such an ego boost because it thinks I'm just the greatest.
Yep.
And it's because of the quality of the prompts and the iteration. And I think a lot of people have made mistakes that Google will not like when you just grab something right out of Chat GPT with the telltale signs without, putting your own personal touch on it. Isn't that true?
100%. Like that, we still have to be the human verification system for these things. We still have to push it through. So, and there's a reason why people who have a lot of career experience can
Yeah.
use AI and get good outputs, but people who don't have experience, it just looks like AI. And that's because they don't always have the eye for that or the understanding of what's happening here. It's like basically somebody using a calculator with never having done math before. They don't know how whether or not the answer is right. They just trust the answer. And we all, I think any veteran career person knows that the work, you have to respect the work.
Yeah.
And then you have to, and you're really using this as an efficiency tool, not as a complete replacement for doing the work. Like you can't skip from level 1 to level 100 in your career through AI, but
Yeah.
you can iterate a lot faster if you embrace it that way.
Yeah, I found that it has taken some of the pain out of like content creation, for example. Like it used to be like, oh, every Monday, here we go again. What am I going to create? Now it's just like, yay, let's do this. And I've used to get frustrated with the AI at times, but now that I've just been studying it and learning it, it's just so exciting. Thank you for being willing to talk about my favorite topic. And I would just say I probably have one final question for you. About set it and forget it, because I think sometimes people don't realize the same iteration with AI is something you got to do. That's a powerful mantra. Do you want to jump into that topic a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, funny thing is we have this phrase that we use internally called TBV, trust but verify, which is, something from the 80s, but we use it in our business. And it means trust like you can't just set something and forget it. You have
Yeah.
to set it and then have a human feedback loop or have the knowledge in place. You need to have guardrails, let's say, in order to
Yeah.
get something to happen. And so this applies to your marketing, it applies to automation, it applies to AI. And that is essentially, remember, it's an efficiency tool, and that we've never been more efficient than now at getting things sent to us fast. Like you said, content creation, that's a great example. I created 6 pieces of content today in like an hour that would have normally taken me weeks to do that, right? And I almost feel guilty. I'm like, oh, I feel a little bit guilty that I'm not that I don't have as much time, or that I'm not spending as much time on this. But the result is there, and it feels good, and that makes sense. But I still have to be there to make sure that it's happening. So in reality, you might say, okay, well, I sent something to ChatGPT. They gave me a response. I liked it. That means that it's always going to be good. So I can just automate something where I'm not even reading it, and it's automatically posting to my LinkedIn. What
Wow.
happens that what happens is if you don't have that in place, something bad's gonna happen, and it's gonna be much worse than anything you could imagine. And so you have to have these guardrails in place in order to make sure that it's there. Ours is really just like a step where we use ClickUp as our main system for managing our internal workings of our company. It's just like it send like we can automate to the point where you create content, it sends it to ClickUp to say go review this thing and click the button to post it. So we automate like 95% of our content creation, but we don't give up that last level of control before we send it out, if that makes sense. And so I would say that setting and forget it is the dream. You never really can do that. And this is with your marketing. Like, if you set up an ads campaign a year ago, Google Ads has changed significantly since a year ago. So if you just set it up and didn't touch it, you're basically not it's not going to do as well. This stuff requires active management. Doesn't require as much painful logging in activity as before, but it does require a lot of active management to get the result you're looking for. So set it and forget it sounds good, but don't make that a practice. Always add that human trust but verify layer in there.
That's so true because I always say that TBV, just another great acronym from you, but it's the human and AI combination that's exciting. It's not going to replace you, but someone who's using AI can replace you. So trust but verify, add your human touch. Anything else you want to leave our audience with about how we can be unstoppable in our marketing?
Yeah, I think that just don't be afraid to experiment with things. There's a lot of activity out there. There's a lot of noise in the world. So even if you just, every post isn't going to get noticed anyway. So don't be afraid to be experimental, to take a chance, summarize what you're looking for, but try to stand out. That's the whole point of marketing is people have to notice you. So that might mean that you have to pay for ads, might mean you need to experiment with different formats, but don't be afraid of doing that. And then always never forget to measure, right? Measure the results. So my one of my companies is called Measure You. I'm wearing the shirt for it right now. And that whole idea is we call it measurement marketing. And so you start with what you want to measure and then you do your marketing, as opposed to doing marketing and then hoping that you can make some numbers up later on to justify it. So
Yeah.
think about what your objective is and your goal, and then figure out the marketing channels to make that happen. We have tons of free resources and calculators that can help you make those decisions over at Measure You. So just try thinking about the result in mind and go forward. It's never been easier. That's a big part of our way that we use AI is here's the result that I want, and then you let AI do the heavy lifting, as opposed to most people try to teach AI how to do their job. Thing is, we're never going to be as good as AI at knowing the how steps, but
Yeah.
they will never be as good as us, or not never, but for a long time they won't be as good as us as defining what the result is that we need to get to, the objective.
Okay, well, I should have said that was my final question, but I really want to just circle back to all of your acronyms. And we got your DOPE, we got your OPS, you got your
Yep.
PD. What am I missing?
More offers, and then and then dope, rad, and more for the offers, products, and systems.
Which is just give me
Yeah.
the
Yeah, more is make an offer, optimize it, and then review the results. For products, it's results first. What actions do you need to take to get that result? And then how do you deliver it? Like what's the medium that you do? And then dope systems is define, organize, and then what people do you need to make this thing happen?
awesome, totally rad, Jeff. I love the conversation. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so we have measureyou.com, which is about how to measure your marketing. And then my main part of the business is called profitschool.com, and it's all about creating an AI first business. I really am passionate about helping small businesses of, less than 50 people, professional services most of the time, like people who have agencies or they're freelancers or consultants, how to run a more profitable business, how to scale in the ways by not doing the things or by avoiding doing the things that you don't want to do, and then how to get more revenue by getting better at marketing yourself. So I work with both one-on-one and then in group coaching with people at Profit School to help them do that. I think that's the future of the world, is that businesses are going to be AI first, meaning that you're going to consult AI for the answers before you consult other people a lot of time, and that people are, we're going to be able to do 10 to 100x more work than we have ever been able to do before by embracing this technology. And I'm not going to stop until we help everybody that wants to have that opportunity.
Well, thanks, Jeff Sauer, Measure You, and Profit School.
Thank you.